Hey, hey, hey. You know what? Men, women, and children, Hope is in the building. Hey! What is going on, Human Hope Familia? Welcome to episode, 129. I can't ever remember what episode we're on. Men, women, and children, Hope is in the building. Do you guys remember when I used to introduce the podcast as if we were however many years old as the episode? So I was like, we're 29 years old. We're 24 years old. We're 72. I mean, we're now like creeping up on like Moses biblical time age here. I mean, we're up there. 129. Is there any significance to the number 129? Anybody know? What's going on, fam? Carlos Enrique Whittaker Guzman and Chivo Cabello here. I'm so grateful that you've tuned in to another episode of Human Hope. I'm really excited about this series that we're starting today. That's right, we're starting a new series. Y'all like the series. Y'all like the series is it series? You like them. When we're in a series, I feel like you are all very focused. And I feel like I'm really focused too. And I feel like this is the one you didn't ask for, that you didn't know you needed, that you need, and that you're going to ask for more of. Oh man, that was a lot of all that. Also, can I just say something? Some people are like, Carlos, like you're not Instagramming enough lately. You're not, look, I got things to do. But secondly, and y'all understand this if you're listening to the podcast, I talk to you for an hour a week on this podcast. Okay. I mean, maybe sometimes 30 minutes, but like, every day on my Instagram, it's like 2 minutes, 4 minutes max. Okay. Maybe some days 10. But this is where you need to come if you'd really want me to unpack what I'm thinking. And boy, am I thinking about the middle of life right now. I am in the middle. I'm 1 month into my 50s. And can I tell you some stuff that I've realized? I got my AARP membership application in the mail yesterday. And if I would have gotten that in the mail a month ago versus yesterday, I probably would have had a different reaction. Why? Well, because I would have been like frustrated that I'm 50. I would have been like, gosh, I'm trying to have a good attitude, but like, I can't believe I'm getting so freaking old. And then I talked to Mimi. Who's Mimi? You may be asking yourself. Oh, Mimi is just going to be your favorite human being on planet Earth. Now, let me tell you, we're going to talk to Mimi today. And Mimi literally changed my life and my viewpoint on aging. This isn't going to be an aging series. Okay. I actually don't even know what we're calling the series yet. Like I asked Whitney this morning. She had some good ideas. You'll know by the time we launch the podcast because it'll be in the description. But, initially I was like, let's talk to some older people than me. Let's start 10 years older, then go 20, then go 30. And, initially it was like the old people series. But then I was like, once I start talking to people 10 years older than me, I'm like, wait a second. No, like I want to be them because their viewpoint, their views on life and what they're pulling off in life is what I want to be doing now. It's so cool. So, it's this series is for those of you. Oh, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, let me finish that thought because I'm going to forget. This series is for those of you who may think it's too late. Oh, you know what, Carlos? Like, I wanted to be an actress, but I'm 32. It's too late. No, it's not. Oh, you know what, Carlos? I wanted to write my first novel, but I'm 65. It's too late. No, it's not. Oh, you know what, Carlos? Like, I wanted to become a professional athlete in fill in the blank. I'm 24. It's too late. No, it's not. It's never too late. And that's what this series is about. I have gotten some people that are going to inspire the freaking heck out of you because they've inspired me. And they're going to give us some incredible wisdom over the next few weeks. So listen, I need to let you know it's not too late, and you're going to feel like you can bust through a freaking wall when you're done with this. Now, back to my thought on aging itself and Mimi. When I talked to Mimi, I realized something very quickly, and she's going to talk about this. But I realized that if I'm not getting old, I'm dead, right? And so, you know, if people are like, you know, I had some friends of mine that when I turned 50, like, oh my gosh, you're so old. I'm like, yes, congratulations to me. Why in the world would you be dissing that? Because if you don't want to get old, then that just means you're going to be dead. And I think we want to live. And so I just have this new gratitude. Not only do I have new gratitude, but let's just talk about the stuff that Mimi's going to be leaning into. Okay. Everything in me wants to talk about the Golden Bachelor right now. Everything. Maybe we'll have our like its own podcast episode. Maybe I can get Gary on the podcast. Does anybody know the Golden Bachelor? Can we get him on the podcast? Because I want to protect him at all costs. He deserves it. He's a national treasure. And anyway, I've got thoughts. Me and my daughter are watching the Golden Bachelor and we love it. But listen, here's the thing about Mimi. Let me let you know about Mimi. Mimi, mi amiga, Mimi. And her last name is Ison. Mimi is a pro-age movement motivator. Whoa, come on. Pro-age. She's a blogger and she's an anti-ageism advocate. She's 60 years old and she's a health and fitness enthusiast who crushes age stereotypes on Instagram. And her Instagram handle is, and I've posted her before. Sorry, can somebody edit that out? Her Instagram is @HeyMiddleAge. She writes about midlife on her blog, heymiddleage.com. Her happy place is the boxing gym where she started training at 50. Okay, I guess I'm going to become a boxer now because I'm 50. Maybe I can start training. She's a decade ahead of me and she's so inspiring. The reason when I first found her, she was dancing, doing like hip hop dance on her, maybe it was on TikTok. I can't remember. And I was like, holy crap, this woman is badass. Sorry. Maybe we have to edit that out for little kids to hear. But listen, I'm going to say the whole thing again. Maybe I need to start boxing no, that's not what it was. I found her on TikTok. She was boxing. Well, I can't even remember what I was saying. 50, see what happened at 50? I'll just go back to this. Her happy place is the boxing gym where she started training at 50. I'm 50. She's now 60. Maybe I need to get boxing. And the first time I saw her it was TikTok or Instagram, she was like hip hop dancing. And I was like, okay, wait a second. Who is this amazing woman? Her name's Mimi. And Mimi is going to inspire us today in ways that you didn't know. So listen, I don't care if you're 20. I don't care if you're 10. I don't care if you're 30. I don't care if you're 100. What she has to say literally could change all of your lives, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, stand up, do whatever you need to do. But get ready to realize that it is not too late. It is never too late. Mimi, welcome to Human Hope. Okay, Human Hope family, I'm here with Mimi Ison, who you don't know this yet. And I didn't know this, but she in a matter of, it was probably 30 seconds, became one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth. When I stumbled upon this video that she'd created that I think had gone a little bit viral, and I just saw this badass woman. I think you were dancing. I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, okay, whatever she has, I want it. And so I basically stalked her, DM'd her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a big fan now. I'm your number one fan. Will you please be my friend? And so I forced her hand into being my friend, being on my podcast. Mimi, say hello to the Human Hope family.
Okay, Carlos, so, oh golly, I remember that day because you were in an airport, I believe. And you had messaged me, you were in an airport and you were traveling, doing your thing, traveling around all over the place. doing your thing,
Of
and you
course,
sent
doing
me a
my thing.
message, and I saw your name, and I went, oh, because I knew who you were. I had been listening to your podcast. I had been following you,
Oh,
and you were kind of like the first. I think you have a blue check mark, right? Like the check, and I think you were the.
oh yeah,
That's
yep,
right,
yep,
and
yep.
you were
That was
the
before
first
people
blue
could pay
check
for them.
mark to message me, and I went, oh, wow! And you wrote something to the effect of, "I'm in this airport. I'm scrolling. I see you. Watching you made me I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go re-sign up for my gym." That's what you wrote to me.
Yes, and I did. I literally did because of you. I did. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? And yes, so I don't
Yeah.
remember I was in an airport, but that is 99%
Oh, well, I
where I'm
remember.
normally at
I
anyway.
remember
So of
because it
course
was
I
a
in
big
an
deal.
airport.
It was a big
yeah.
deal. I'm telling you.
That is so cool. Listen, I guess I didn't know that you were part of the
was.
Insta Familia before I became a fan of yours. So, but now I'm in Mimi Familia is what I'm just going to call it,
Okay.
the Mimi Familia. So
Yeah.
I'm so good. So listen, we I've asked you to come on here because yes, you're inspiring, but not only for maybe the reasons why people
Right.
may follow you on Instagram. Like I've as much digging as I've been able to do, with you, you just have a very, I feel like a very positive outlook on life that it really affects many generations, not just a generation, that may be in the same generation as you or as me. But the more I dug into what I wanted to talk about today, the more I realized, gosh, there are 20-year-olds that think they missed the boat because they didn't do something when they were 18. There's 35-year-olds that think that they've missed the boat because they didn't do something when they were 20. There's 45-year-olds that are like, oh my God, I mean, this is the end. I can't, and I just thought Mimi is such a great voice to lean into people and let them just start dream again. Let them start dreaming again and taking hold on the beautiful days that we have left. And so here I sit. Where I want to start, because if we don't start like jumping in, I want these conversations to be digestible, but I also want to talk to you for 15 hours. So I'm going to try to get to the point here. Tell us a little bit about kind of the season that you're in and the influence that you've suddenly been given and what you're trying to do with the influence that you have right now.
So first I'm going to tell you that my nature is not super positive. It's really not. It's really not. And that might, if anybody follows me, that might surprise some people because, and I'm going to bring this back to something that I've learned as I've gotten older. So, as a younger person, I have always been a real overthinker, like to the max, right? And when you overthink, you look at, every possibility. Let's do this. Well, all these things can go wrong. No, it's too inconvenient. It's, all the things. And that kept me from doing a lot of things growing up. I've passed up a lot of opportunities and wasted time and all these things as a younger person. And I feel like when I was in my mid-50s, that turned around for me. And if you're in the middle-aged space and you talk to people who are over 50 or 60 or whatever, you'll hear a lot of common responses about getting older, that they start to not care so much what people think. They start to kind of have this freedom for themselves. And it kind of loosens you up. And that's what happened to me. Like everything just got loose. It just got loose. Yeah. And I think part of it is, I say this a lot, is at a certain point you realize, the runway ahead of you is shorter than behind you. And that is just, depending on how you look at it and what you do with it, it could be, could really bring you down. Or you can say, okay, let's go.
Right.
Whatever time I have ahead of me, let's go. I'm past halftime. I'm in third quarter. I'm in the third act, whatever it is that you want to call it. And so it's really interesting because, you hear it a lot, like somebody who's younger. Oh, it's exactly what you said. Oh, I didn't do that by this or that age. It's too late for me. And you hear people who are pretty young saying these things. And I think that happens just because of all the sort of negative stereotypes and beliefs around aging. It really comes back to that. And that's baked into us. We start to learn about that when we're really young. And we have, and we embrace
absolutely
youth, and there's nothing wrong with youth. Nothing wrong with, younger people, older people. But, we do have this belief around what it means to be old, what it feels like to be older, how you're perceived when you're older. And I think where I'm at is I'm finding out that those things are not true. A lot of them are not true. And you do it through experience, and you do it through the thing really happening to you at whatever age you are. And it's from me learning from other people my age and people who are older. It's great to have interaction with people who are older, because you will see those stereotypes and things just busted, broken to the ground. And so I'm here to help. I'm here to help,
what
kind of, I don't know, reframe that word. It gets a little bit cliche, a little bit tiring, but some of it is reframing and just seeing things from a different point of view. And that, because I know it's affecting some people, because I do get messages from people who say, oh, wow, okay, maybe I can do that. And I'm going to try that, know?
Absolutely.
So that's the mission.
What are some things, what are some things, Mimi, you said very specifically, some things that you were taught and that you learned about growing old that you in your 50s and now I think you just turned 60 recently, that you were like, well, wait a second, that's not true. Like, what are some of those things that you realize have not been true about getting older?
I can remember very specifically when I turned 50, I was still deep into all these kinds of beliefs, really believing that, okay, I'm running out. I'm really running out of time. Like I'm only going to feel this way for so long. I'm going to look this way for so long, and it's just all going to go away. It's all going to go downhill. I really, really believe that, because I was very intentional when I was 50, thinking, okay, I better get on it. I better stop waiting. But then as the years went by, and so if I'm just going to use like the physicality piece as an example. So I do a lot of physical stuff, fitness things, and it's fun for me. And so I never thought of age as, it just like wasn't a factor if I wanted to start or do something. I don't know, it just didn't occur to me, I guess. So I started adult ballet when I was 40, and I did that for 10 years. I started boxing, and ballet is very hard. And then I started, boxing classes when I was 50. Yes. But I didn't think, okay, I'm 50, I don't think I can do this, or I better not do this. I just didn't do that. I just thought, okay, well, do I have the stamina for it? Do I have the strength for it? Do I have the conditioning for it? And if I don't, maybe I can build it up and do it. And that's what I've done. Wow. So I try to not make age like the number one thing, or the number two thing, or even the number 8 thing, because I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Certainly age matters, right? It definitely matters.
Right.
But I don't look at it as the first thing. I think that's helpful.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Our next partner is Athletic Greens. I take AG1 literally every single day. Even last week when I was in Montana, I just walk out the door. It's 37 degrees. I got my hoodie on and I got my AG1 in my right hand. I just dumped it in a little bit of water. And you know what that does for me? It does tons for me, because it's got so many great things inside of it. 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality. So listen, if you're trying to get your gut health better, if you're just trying, if you are nearing the top of the hill and you're starting to roll over the backside like me, I'm 50, right? I need to make sure that I am putting the good stuff in my body. And that is why I take AG1 every single day. So this is what I want you to do. It's so cool. It gets delivered to me every month, and it can get delivered to you. How you make that happen is you go to athleticgreens.com/human hope. Okay. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, which is what I used in Montana. With your first purchase, go to athleticgreens.com/human hope. That's athleticgreens.com/human hope. Check it out. It is time for Carlitos to tell you about his favorite vitamin that he takes, because it's kids' vitamins. That's right. Can you fathom that me at 50 years old is taking kids' vitamins? That's right, because I love them. They taste absolutely incredible. What I love about Hiya is that they don't have all that typical gummy candy junk that is in there. I appreciate my parents giving me Fred Flintstone, because I used to love when I take my Flintstone vitamins when I was a kid. But guess what? They were filled with tons of sugar. Hiya is made with 0 sugar, 0 gummy junk, and it tastes great, and it's perfect for picky eaters. It is essential that our kids are getting the nutritional supplements and the vitamins that they need. And here's the thing. I know not all of us have all the time in our schedule to be able to cook them like raw, organic food from our own farms and gardens. No. So since we can't do that, give them a little bit of Hiya, okay? Hiya. So we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamins. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim, you got to go to hiyahealth.com/human hope. This deal is not available on the regular website. Go to hiyahealth.com/human hope and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. That is very helpful. So many people do look at it as the very first thing. And, it has been baked into our society. I think, if I look back at, I think the reverence, maybe 300, 500 years ago that people had for the aging, and that's gone. Like it disappeared. And there used to be, it was the opposite of being forgotten. It was almost like the older someone got, the more they were treasured, and the more, but we've, and this could be a whole other conversation, but I feel like society has gotten so individualized and individualistic that we are forgetting some of these walking saints that are literally walking around us. And I think it's a problem, and I think you are helping people. I think, like you said, reframe
some of that is logical,
of those things about aging.
Right. So years ago, we needed the stories, and we needed the guidance, and we needed the information. And now it's all in our hands. Yeah. Right. We can find all of that. Wow. And I think that's a big shift. Wow. You can look it all up. I don't think that's entirely true, because, we still need the stories, right? We still need, still need that perspective and understanding. But I think that's a big part of it. Yeah. 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 I do too. I think I've actually never thought of that, but I do think that, gosh, especially my dad, and I've talked to you about this, as he's fading with dementia. I made sure three or 4 years ago, I put up a camera in front of him, and I just said, all right, start at the beginning. Yeah. And I hit record, just tell me the stories, what are they? And I, would get them out of him. And yes, so here I am at 50. So I just turned 50 years old, and I feel like I am having, hang on one second. Did your video go away on your end or just mine? No. Hang on. Okay. Okay. No, it's good. It's still recording. Yep. It's still recording. So I just turned 50, and I think when I found your page, I was 49, 48. I just was like, oh my gosh, this is somebody that is,
looking at aging not negatively. And I had, honestly, up until I started following you, I would lean into all of those, I think, attitudes that people had of like, when people would compliment me, because it feels good. Oh, you don't look 49 years old. You look like you're in your 30s, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. Yes, I look like I'm in my 30s. But then I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, why can't this be what 50 looks like? Why can't I be proud of being 50? Talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the accidental ageism that takes place, not only by those that are growing old, but those that maybe are even trying to do good by those that are aging.
Oh, yeah.
Which we all
Somebody said, oh, you look this or that for your age. I thought, oh, my gosh, you're my new best friend. Like, I loved it. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But, over the years, I've learned that actually is not a compliment because it's adding a qualifier, right? Oh, you look because of this qualifier, whether it's your age or you belong to a particular group or you're a certain size or whatever it is. And that's just wrong. But it's kind of interesting because people don't have, a lot of people just don't understand that that's, perceived to be problematic these days. And a lot of that is just, again, this belief system we have around what aging represents and what it means. And it's usually all negative. And the thing is, when we're younger, we're more like when we're younger. I mean, think about it. We're age segregated in school. Right? We're kind of developing around, similar time. And then as you get older, we get more different from each other. Even think about all the people Carlos, from everywhere. We get more different as we get older, but that's not how we're represented, right? Whether it's in the media and marketing and, even in, in the workplace, it's problematic. And we start to be seen as sort of one big lump. Right, we're weak and we're frail and we're slow and we're digital dum-dums and we're and in my experience, it's really not true. I'm in groups with pretty much women, most over 50, and they span many decades. And the women I know don't fit into any of those stereotypes. They're all doing their thing. They're, starting new jobs. They're falling in love. They're, spending time with, people in their community. They're contributing. They're active. Those are the people I know. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that that's everyone. And I know that getting older can be hard in a lot of ways. I mean, for sure, your body's changing. For sure. I'm not denying any of that stuff. And I do try to stay as positive as I can around kind of my age and where I'm going and all these things. I don't know what the future's going to hold for me. I don't know. But you know what? I'm going to try to do whatever I can to make it feel good for me for as long as possible. It may work. It may not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to stay on that road. Right. Just keep moving forward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Talk to us a little bit about when in your 50s you said, and I actually can't even fathom this in my head. You said that you found yourself maybe as unhealthy or out of shape as you'd ever been. And I don't know Mimi at that point. So like all I see is dancing in your garage version of you. So tell us where what was that point when you were like, you know what? No, I am going to make a shift in my health because this is the only thing. These are the only hands I got, the only arms I got, the only legs I got, the only hips and joints I got. So how am I, what did that look like, that shift for you? Because for me, one of the things that you have helped me with is since I found you, I went back to the gym. I'm now playing pickleball every day. I'm running every day. I'm lifting weights. I'm doing these things. And so tell us where that shift happened for you.
I play pickleball too. So someday we'll play together. Okay.
Oh, right on. We got to play in LA.
I play a little bit. Okay.
Let's go.
So I think, I've been active my whole life, kind of in and out of different kinds of things. And, but in my 50s, I kind of reached my nadir, my mid 50s. And so there is something called the U curve of happiness. It's research that's been looked at all over the world, and it's
Really?
basically adults are happiest in early adulthood, and it kind of dives down, and then it rises up again, and then you become happier as you get older. So the bottom is kind of around the 40s and the 50s, right? The 40s and the 50s, there's a lot of things going on. If you have children and your parents are around, you're part of, that sandwich generation. You know what that's about. And, again, if you have kids, there's a lot of things going on with that. If you have kids and you're working, there's all of that. And a lot of times you sort of let your physicality, that piece of it, go by the wayside. There isn't time for it and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I would say around 55 was the bottom of my U. And a lot of things happened that year. And so my mother passed away that spring. And my daughter had graduated from high school that year. I had been working a lot and was pretty burnt out. And I was subsisting on sugar and caffeine, basically. Sugar and caffeine, breakfast, lunch, after dinner, eating out of that big Trader Joe's bucket of mini chocolate chip cookies at 10:30 at night, then getting back onto email. That whole cycle was going on and on and on. Yeah, I worked out on a Monday and a Thursday, and then I thought that was enough. And it wasn't.
Sure.
Right? So I'd sit at my desk for hours. I wouldn't get up, wouldn't move throughout the day. And so I left all of that at that age, and I have a spouse, so I was privileged enough to be able to do that. And I just started taking care of myself in simple ways. I started to cook at home, instead of all the takeout and the frozen food and things like that. And started getting back into just, moving regularly throughout the day, most days. And over time, I started to kind of just to dive into what it meant to be middle age, and that's when I kind of stumbled upon the subject of ageism, which I knew very little about, so little about, And so it's just, reading and podcasts and all these things. And it's just like a light bulb moment, all of this coming together for me. And it's really interesting because once you know something about ageism, it's like having a brand new red car. So, if you have a red car, you see red cars everywhere.
Yes.
So once you know a little bit something about ageism, suddenly like, oh, wait a minute, you see it sort of in these they seem like really inconsequential places and ways. And suddenly you go, oh, I can't believe that store has this huge array of really ageist birthday cards, and they're all acceptable, and people give them to their friends and their family, and it's so funny. And it's like, okay, yeah, all right, they're funny, but they're not helpful. They're not helpful, and they I think they poke fun and sort of, it's a super negative way, and just kind of helps reinforce those negative stereotypes around getting older.
Totally.
So you start to see that, and then you'll start to hear people say things about themselves, right, around aging. Self-directed ageism.
Like self-ageism.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm too old for this, or I can't do that because of my age. And so you'll start to recognize those things. So my suggestion is, start with the self-directed ageism. And when those things, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop and ask yourself, okay, well, you can't do that because of your age. Is that true? Is it really because of your age? Like, really dive in, be honest, and think about the true reasons. And again, age still matters, but let's not make that number one.
Right.
It's maybe number 8.
Well, because there's a lot of other things matter too. So why make age the only thing, right? I think to myself, I know a lot of people in their 30s that can't do a lot of things I'm doing because they're not taking care of their bodies, as opposed to, me not take. It's the same thing. I cannot take care of my bodies when I'm 65 or 25, and obviously there are things about youth. We know this, but ageism, it may have been the first time I'd heard it too, actually, when I was on your Instagram page, kind of scrolling around. And I did have to do some self-reflection about like, well, how am I pouring into this too? Like, even as I was approaching 50, I think I'd even joked a couple, I'm going to be over the hill, or, and I'm like, wait, what is this hill? What is the hill? You know, why am I not still climbing? Like, why am I not halfway up the hill? And so I just was like, gosh, I've got to fix these. And something that you just said about, the cards, things that people are like, think is light and fluffy and funny. I'm sitting here already thinking like, okay, Whitney, who's listening to this, I'm going to start a greeting card company, which is like pro aging, where it's like you're 50 and oh my God, you're a badass, and like here, or you're 70 and your dreams are just beginning.
What? Okay,
like, where's the greeting card that says that? There's
I actually have a friend who has a company who does that. Yes.
Okay, well, Whitney, cancel my plans.
Okay, her name is Jan,
like, because that is amazing.
Age-friendly vibes. Age-friendly vibes, and she makes really amazing messages. They're super cool. Yeah, they're super cool. Yeah, and so a few years ago, I had joined an ageism. It's just a group, right? Just a group, not necessarily anti-ageism, but just a group just to kind of understand and explore and discuss and all these things. So she's in the group, and that's how I met her. And she's out there, fighting the big fight and, spreading the message and all of that.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I mean, because I hear you say that, and initially, now that I'm 50, I'm like, nope, I'm sorry. We need your friend. We need that. I love that.
Great.
Okay, so we'll make sure to put her stuff in the show notes as well. That's super. What is Mimi dreaming about these days? What is fulfilling? You wake up and you're, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about.
Well, I'll tell you
what's
that,
filling your dream bucket?
We were talking about just getting looser, and so one big shift for me is just to say yes more. Just to say yes more, because that just leads to places. I'm here with you right now, Carlos.
Yeah.
Because I said yes, a while back to another pod, and just people reaching out and just, having conversations, meeting people from all over the world, and connecting with them. And so just say the yes is going to take me somewhere. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know. I think that's the fun of it.
I love it.
Because there's so much out there that I had no idea existed. And I'm just learning more literally every day. So it's just the dream. I don't know. I just think everything's just wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open. Wide
open and dreamy. You're just bathing in dreams on a daily basis. Your yes is just, you're just like floating around in an ocean of dreams because your yes keeps taking, there actually was, I got to find this. There was somebody that did a YouTube video where he said yes to every single thing he was asked for a year. So like literally like if somebody's like, hey, you want to go to lunch? He's like, yeah. So someone's like, hey, would you like to do? He's like, yeah. So he said yes. And it was actually mind-blowing, his life that year. It was the richest, fullest experience. I'll have to dig around and see if I can put that in the show notes too. But you're right. Saying yes more, don't, and I'm in agreement too. Like, I'm just like my daughter, she's like, hey, I want to take you to the US Open. Immediately, so we went last night to the US Open. We went to see Coco. Immediately, all I thought was, I have so much stuff I have to do yesterday and today, that when she told me that she's like, surprise, Whitney cleared your calendar. I just thought, oh my God, I don't have time. Like I can't. And I was going to say, no, can we reschedule for something else? But you know what? I said yes. We went yesterday. We saw Coco win. We saw Slovalinka win at the end. We were up till 1:30 a.m. in New York City. We had to wake up at 5:30 to fly back to Nashville. I'm beat down and exhausted, but man, was it not a dream, right? And so yes leads to dreams. Yes.
That's an experience.
So
I mean, you and your daughter are going to talk about that.
What does your family think about?
Right.
I know. We know, we literally are. We're going to talk about how the fact that we never should have gotten there at noon. We should have waited till 5 because we sweated 47
I
gallons
heard it's really hot there.
Sweat in 100-degree heat, watching people we don't know play doubles. No, it was hot. It was hot. But we had a good time. Tell me this. What do like your daughter or your family, like, what do they think about like Mimi the influencer, the one that's out there doing the thing?
In my family and my friends, nobody's doing anything like this. So it's like a big question mark to them, right? So I mean, I guess of anybody, my daughter sort of understands it the most, right? If I want, because I don't really have someone to bounce ideas off of. It's like, I don't know about this. I'm not sure. Will you look at it? Yeah. She's kind of the person I'll bounce ideas off of. But everybody else, no. It's like, it's not. No,
not even like whatever.
Right.
I know you've got a phone and sometimes you talk
really
to it, but besides that,
it's cool. It's cool. But I've certainly met people in the Instagram world, right? Especially in the middle-aged space. There's a lot of very active people out there who are doing their thing and spreading their messages, and it's a really fun space.
It is.
It's very robust. It's loud. It's getting loud, Carlos. It's getting loud. Yeah. We need it.
Yeah. It is. I think that I do. I think of, I'm like, okay, I'm 50. Basically my full-time job is Instagram, right? Like it's like and so I'm like, it's not like I'm going to be like 60 and be like, okay, I'm retiring. Like, no, I'm going to keep like making things and keep inspiring people. And there is going to be there's this growing movement of Gen X and that is growing into, it's 80 years old. When I turn 80, and you're 90, like, it's going to look a lot different. I think it is going to look a lot different. I think we're going to be busting stereotypes and, having more fun maybe than generations before. And I'm here for it.
Again, I think I do draw in some attention because it's surprising, right? Some of what I do is just kind of a surprise. So, years from now, that's not going to be a surprise anymore. And I'm just not going to be special.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping. That's really... Well, okay. Well,
you'll still be special because you'll be the OG.
But as years go down, it's not going to be super special that we're going to be seeing, people just continuing to live their lives the way they want to live their lives and what's best for them, whether it's physical or not. Right? It's just like let's accept the aging process because, I mean, you hear it all the time, right? Aging is a gift. And that's why I say, like, ageism is such a strange issue because it's kind of happened to you, right? You're setting, so if you're sort of kind of perpetuating these stereotypes and, and the negativity and all that, it's like you're sort of planting, the seeds are planted, but you're kind of continuing to water them for yourself in your future. That's why it's kind of mind-boggling. It does you no good, right, to kind of fall into those traps. Because before you know it, you'll be part of that, and then you're going to start to scratch your head and go, wow. Yep. Wow. And that's why...
Right.
That's right. That's why we need to, be shifting this for everybody. Whatever age you are, it's going to affect you.
Yeah. You say you're old. You're old or your future old.
If you're lucky. Right? That's right.
Yes. If you're lucky.
Not everyone gets there.
That is it.
Not everyone gets there.
Is hiring a challenge? Yeah. Do you love a challenge? Of course, yeah. You need a hiring partner that can help you rise to the challenge. Guess what? You need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. So instead of spending hours on all these job sites, just typing in like, what is it that I need? Here's the job description. I can't figure it out. I can't find the people. Hiya can help you do it all. Okay. Hiya has streamlined hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. One of the cool things that I love about it is they've got instant match, okay? Over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match their job description. Watch this. The moment they sponsor a job. That's right, according to Indeed data here in the United States. Now, I want to let you know something. You can hop on there right now and begin to even dream about what is the next part of my business that I need. One of the things that I love to do is just kind of hop around on there and think, you know what, maybe this could be something, a role that I need filled. So not only can you find somebody, but you can dream about that ideal candidate as well. Even better, Indeed is the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements. Start hiring now with the $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/humanhope. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 job credit now at Indeed.com/humanhope. Just go to Indeed.com/humanhope and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/humanhope. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Yep. I'm like, I had somebody make fun of me, and they were being funny the other day for being, turning 50. And I thought, and they're 20 years younger than me. And I thought to myself, like, I made it here, bro. Like you may not even make it here. So you need to be giving me a high five, not making fun of me. Cause like, I'm already here, bro. So you got 20 more years you got to pull off before you get to this. Right. Because, and again, I'm waking up every day, and I am like, this has been the best birthday for me. And I won't lie, at 48, I was terrified of 50. But now that I'm here, and I think I've got a healthy point of view, and I have people like you speaking into the world, and I can listen to, I'm like, no way, this is amazing. Like, I've got another day. Like, let's go. So, well, okay. I don't know. I just want to say thank you.
That's so nice of you. But you're 48. That wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. So when we feel bad about it, we have these beliefs about it. It's not really our fault. And so it's just like, let's get the message out there.
That's true.
Because now here you are at 50, for real, you're in it. And you're seeing that all those beliefs you had were not true. It's just so interesting. Yeah.
Not at all. It is so interesting. I'm 50 and I've just figured out what I want to do with my life. So this is amazing. I just another one. I know. I'm trying to cut this short, but I just have all these questions. I got another one really quick. Yeah. Had you, like, when I watch you dance, I think to myself, has she always been able to dance like that? Like, were you dancing? Like, were you hip hop dancing in the 80s?
I was,
and we just don't know it.
I was.
You were.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So
I was like, oh, this girl's got skills.
I always thought when I was younger, to be a dancer, you got to take all the lessons, you got to take all the classes and all that. When I was young, you know, I was able to manage, one class a week when I was young. 3 kids in the family. We didn't, but I was always envious of the kids. Like, they get to take all the classes, But when I was younger in high school, I was a cheerleader in high school. So I think doing that, I was able to sort of learn choreography. And then in my 20s, I was living in the Bay Area. That's where I'm from. And I learned how to do hip hop at Gold's Gym in Oakland with this amazing teacher. Her name's Yvonne Caldwell. I think she's still around. And that was my favorite thing in the world to do. And it was really interesting because it was sort of at this upstairs platform in the gym. It was in this older building. And I'm not even joking. I thought we were going to bust that whole floor down. I thought we were going to break it and the thing was just going to fall and all the weightlifters underneath us. I mean, it was so much fun. So I did hip hop there for years. And then in college and stuff, I'd take jazz classes. But I never felt like I was a dancer. I would never say I was a dancer because it just felt like you needed, all the formal training and all that. And then when my daughter was young and she started to do ballet as a kid, there was an adult class in the class next door. It's like, I'll try that. Hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. Completely and just mortified. Didn't know what I was doing. It was just, my body was sore and I'm trying to follow all these other people who know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I came back And I did it again and again. And I did it for 10 years and met some really great friends through that. And then I started having like some trouble with my, my feet and my ankles and my knees from that. So on a complete and total fluke, I tried this boxing class. Complete and total fluke. Not for me. Had never done a push-up, had never done a burpee, had never like gone down into one of those sweaty basement gyms and so I meet my coach Leon, who's now at Gloveworks. He's got like biceps as big as my head. I'm so intimidated. What am I doing here? And I try it. That was the hardest thing I had ever done physically ever. And I look over to all the women in the ring punching and doing combos and hitting hard. And I thought, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm coming back and I'm going to do that.
Yes.
And so I came back again and again. Again, hardest thing I had ever done. Terrible technique. I didn't know what I was doing, but I came back. And so I've been doing that for 10 years now.
Right.
And so lesson in that to everyone is I say there's joy in being a beginner. Be a beginner. And I know there are people out there, especially once you reach middle age, they kind of feel like, well, I've always been good at this. I've always been good at that. I can't, what if I'm not good at that? What are people going to think if I do that? It's like, well, if you're a beginner, you're supposed to be bad at it. So that's the perfect time to do it. The expectation isn't there. So I say, do it because, walk in. That's the first thing I did when I walked into that class. I came in, I say, hey, hi, my name's Mimi. Never done this before. Total beginner. Don't know what to do. Can you help me? And people will help you.
Oh, wow. Oh, they love to help. People are helpers. People love to help. Be a beginner. There's joy in being a beginner. I love that. Well, listen, I hope that the thousands of people that are listening to this become beginner Mimi fans. They're all going to be a beginner today. They're just jumping on, and you're literally incredible. You are you're a gift, and so I appreciate it. And honestly, like selfishly, I just look forward to a continued friendship with you. But more than anything, I really appreciate everything that you have given today of yourself to allow people that, again, if they're 20, 30, 40, that they're like, you know what? It's not only going to be okay. This is freaking amazing.
So
this is
Carlos,
going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Let's thank the algorithm for letting it find me. What a blessing that we were able to connect just on a fluke, just on a whim, just by accident, whatever it is. So I'm so glad that happened and that we connected. And remember, I already knew who you were. I had already been part of the Insta Familia.
I know.
But I mean, I just think the takeaway here is, we're a little bit in a battle because there are all these beliefs about what aging represents and what it means and the expectations and all that. You will find as you get older that most of those are not going to be true. Seek out people who are older than you, get into their universe, see what they're doing, kind of absorb that, see what the real is out there. Because what you're seeing in, whatever, the movies and TV and marketing and all this stuff, we didn't even talk about invisibility. That's like a whole nother conversation. When you just start, you start to not see yourself.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to come back.
Right? You start to not see yourself. But it's true and totally true. Like it's a really strange phenomenon when suddenly everything out there just looks very, very young. Now, I wrote about this because I grew up as an Asian kid in the 70s, so I understand what invisibility is. I'm kind of used to it. You may relate. I've read your book, so.
Well, I relate.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, okay.
But that happens. That happens too. Yeah. So I know. Just you may just be getting started, right? Don't compare yourself to other people.
Yeah.
Just how you feel is what matters.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, my it's so funny that you said that because my mom last week, as we were talking, I can't remember what it was, but I touched a pain point
that I had not heard from her mouth, where she said, I just am starting to feel invisible. And she literally said that. Like, the words came out. She's never said, I don't even know if she said the word invisible to me in her entire life. And that came out of her mouth at 70, she's 73 and 72. And I just I gasped, because I'm like, okay, here's the deal. It is now, it's not my role, my job now to just tell her she's not invisible. It is I thought I was doing enough, but now it is my role to make sure she doesn't feel invisible, right? And so how many of us have aging parents that are, or people that we know that honestly truly do feel invisible? And it's not just going to take a podcast with you and I talking about that. You're not invisible. You're a warrior. You can do it. Some people are going to need us to come in and kind of lift them up too. So, if you have people in your life that feel invisible, you know what? You've got literally the solution to help them not be invisible. Your eyeballs. So go see them, that. Right?
I love that. So good.
Yeah. So good. So good. Well, friend, thank you so much for hanging out with us here at Human Hope. And I just made the decision. This is only the first time you're going to be on the podcast.
Okay, let's go.
Again. And everyone's going to jump on the Mimi train.
Okay, well, happy birthday to you, Carlos. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. I am 50 is not the new 30.
Yes, and that's another lesson, right? Yeah.
50
is 50,
like,
60 is 60. It's like, just like, we got to see it as it really is. Super helpful. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
Oh, my Mimi. Holy cow. Can I just please listen to that 20 more times? What I love, Mimi's content isn't just for her generation. It's for my generation. It's for the younger generation. And she's just a great picture for people to start dreaming again. One of the things I love that she said is, there's a certain point in life where you realize that the runway in front of you, is shorter than the runway behind you. And it should shift things in your life. It should shift the way you think. It should shift the way you act. It just was so good. One of the things that I loved that we leaned into is some of the things that we realized were not true about getting older. Like believing you're running out of time, that everything was going to go downhill when she turned 50. Age does matter. We're not saying it doesn't, but it's not the limiting factor. Thank you, Mimi. It's so inspiring. I'm just freaking pumped, and I think you guys are too. I'm just grateful. We're gonna have her back on. There's 1,000 more things I want to talk about, and maybe I'll start hip hop dancing and boxing because of you, Mimi. I am just grateful. I'm grateful. Well, friends, gosh, I am so in my feels right now. I want to bust through a wall, and I haven't stopped dreaming. I've definitely been dreaming. I got a lot of dreams, but I think sometimes I've got like a cap on my dreams. I think to myself, oh, you know what? I actually have been saying this. I've been saying, you know what? I'm in my Craig Rochelle, Andy Stanley decade, the decade that they were the most influential in their lives and careers or whatever. Which is just a joke because I think, I got 10 years and then I'm done influencing. I'm done dreaming. No, Mimi taught us that is not the case today. Mimi, give me some of that. Mimi, you know what you're making me want to do? It's some Dr. Delight. Hey, men, women, and grandparents. Men, women, and grannies. Hope is in the building. Come on now. Let's go. Y'all. This you ain't even ready for next week. Y'all ain't even ready. You thought this was inspiring. I mean, next week I have on the podcast a man that single-handedly changed the current season of my life because of the life that he has lived already. You're not ready. You're going to want it. So just make sure that you hit subscribe, follow, whatever you need to do on the podcast so that you get it next week. Tell all your friends, guys. Let's double the amount of subscribers on this podcast. Everybody tell your mama, your grandmother, your auntie, your chickens, your dogs, your cats, your pets. Everybody listen to the podcast. This is Human Hope with God. Listen, Legal with the Gusman Chibokabeo, and I'll see you next week. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. Oh, if you're on YouTube right now, you're seeing something special.